So welcome everybody. And while we're waiting for everyone to sign on, I thought I'd just take 1 minute and give you guys an explanation of what the heck a 4-day accelerator is and something really cool you're going to get out of today. So a 4-day accelerator is the foundational tools that help you to move faster. We all know that we can have a great blender or a great air fryer or a great tool of any kind. But if we're one of those people, myself included, who never bothered to read the manual, who never bothered to have strategy or a mindset around why we're using this thing, it's a hit or miss, whether it actually benefits us, how much it helps us. And then we hear other people talking about how they got such incredible results or how fast this changed their life. And we're like, I don't get it. I have the exact same tool you do, and I am not seeing those kind of results. So an accelerator is mindset on different foundational tools that help you to see success faster. Wouldn't that be nice? I think that would be nice. And as I was going on my journey, I noticed that there were certain things that as I learned them and practiced them and got better at them, they exponentially increased the results I was getting, whether it was from maintaining a healthy weight or feeling more free around food, or Shabbat, which is my specialty, the Jewish relationship with our health and our life. So we're going to start in 2 minutes, a minute and a half. But today, I'm going to set the intention that we're going to accelerate on finding your path, finding a personal identity, language, vision for your future in your health today. And we're going to move everything else forward by getting really clear on what you want, not what I want for you, but really what you want and what's best for you. So after that, I'm going to give you guys a few words on the upcoming launch of the Shabbat Ideal Weight Blueprint Group Coaching Program, which starts October 30th. And you guys are welcome to stay for a few details on the upcoming program. And that's what's going to run for the next 4 days. I'm going to deliver you guys something that's really going to move you forward significantly in your understanding and results. And then I'm going to tell you about how I can help in a really strategic, long-term way in my 12-week group coaching. So I'm ready to get started. Are you guys ready to get started? Okay, hold on. I see a few more people are coming in. So I'm gonna just give one more second here. And my daughter came in, so with one question, right? Real life, 1 sec. Okay. Awesome. Hi, Lisa. Welcome. Lisa, Emily, welcome. So great to have you guys here. And I'm going to pay attention to chat here and we're going to get started. Okay, so we're already recording and I want to get started. First thing I want to show you guys is when you first registered for the webinar, you guys got where's my share screen here? Here it is. You guys got a workbook. And I just want to show you where we're going to be in the workbook today. And I'll send it out again in the recording of today's session. So this is your workbook. It came in the initial email when you registered. And you can use this. You can just use a plain piece of paper. You can use the notes on your phone. You can use a piece of scrap paper that you have lying near you. But you are going to want to take notes today. And you are going to want to be present to get the absolute most out of this. So today we're starting on page, let's see, what page is it? Page 6, find your path. So if you're following along, you can follow along, and otherwise get out a pen and a paper. So we're starting today with day 1, which is F of flow, find your path. And it's really hard to imagine what it's going to be like when weight is no longer something you're worried about on a daily basis, and what you're going to eat and what impact it's going to have on your weight isn't something that you're thinking about like regularly throughout the day. As somebody who struggled with her weight from when she was 9 years old, and when I first became aware that I was overweight till 11, when I met with my first dietitian, it was really impossible, quite honestly, for me to imagine a reality in which that was the case 10 years ago when I kind of started my holistic health journey, and certainly 6 years ago when I got serious about weight loss. So I want to help you the way I had a coach and a mentor help me to find that place. So we're going to do a very 3 minute, okay? So not too short, not too long, guided meditation together to find the version of you 10 years from now and what really matters to you 10 years from now. What's the kind of health you want to be enjoying 10 years from now? What's the feeling in your body you want to be enjoying 10 years from now? What's the relationship with food you want to be having 10 years from now? So are we all in? We ready to do this? Excellent. Make sure you guys have pen and paper next to you to write down some notes about what came up for you immediately when you're finished. And we're going to give this 3 minutes. So everybody, it's very important when you want to do a visualization, get comfortable in your seat, roll your shoulders back and take 3 deep breaths. We also want to open our hands on our lap or on a table in front of us somewhere. And that's kind of sends that we're going to be open to possibility, open to seeing something and not forcing what we want to be true of what we care about onto ourselves. So I want you guys to close your eyes and feel where you're sitting right now. Feel the chair, the couch, the bed under your legs, kind of behind your legs. Feel if there's something that you're leaning against with your back of the chair, the back of your bed. Feel where you are. Feel your body, right? It should be firm. Is it soft? Get settled. And then I want you to imagine that this chair has been transported into a completely white room. And all around you is this, we're going to get into this time machine. It's going to be this big dome of light, and it's going to close around you. And all of a sudden, there's going to be a lot of light. There's going to be movement. It's going to be spinning. It's going to feel a little awkward and maybe a little uncomfortable. And it's going to go faster and faster and faster. Maybe your heart is racing a little bit. And then it's going to slow down with a whoosh. It's going to open. And you're still in your chair in this white room. But as you look to your right, you see there's a glass sliding door. And outside is your happy place. Get up and walk towards the door. Smell your happy place. Mine's by the ocean. I can smell the sea, see the beach. Open up the door and walk through. In your happy place, you can start walking and you see a path. And a little farther down the path, you see a bench. And on that bench, you see somebody waiting for you. Look around you. Enjoy the safe space. This is the place where you feel the most calm and the most safe. Hear the sounds. Feel the heat textures that you see. I can feel the sand. Cool breeze. And as you approach the bench, sit down. And both you and your future self are looking out into this beautiful space that's your happy place. And you're going to take a minute and you're going to get to ask her now, whatever you want to ask her, what's most important to her? What does she cherish most about her health? About the life she's living today? Listen to her answers. Ask her, what was the one change that she made to get where she is today? You have one last opportunity to ask her anything else you really, really want to know. She gives you a kiss. You get up, thank her for her time. Look out on your happy, safe space for a minute. Slowly make your way down the path towards the sliding door. Open the door. Go back into the white room. Sit down in the chair. Feel that light come up all around you. Take a deep breath. Feel that discomfort as it starts to spin and light up and flash and move around you, spinning faster and faster and faster. Take a deep breath and release as you feel that whoosh, open. Feel the chair under you, wherever you're sitting, where your back is against. And slowly open your eyes. Take a minute to write down any notes that came to your mind, anything you don't want to forget before we talk about it from this meditation visualization. Feelings that you had, answers that she gave you. If you got to look at her directly, what she looked like, what she was wearing, how she sounded. Okay, so I'd love to hear from you guys. Some things that you maybe discovered about yourself that are really, really important to you 10 years from now. And who's willing to share first? I know it sometimes feels awkward, but it's really powerful. Who's my first volunteer? Alana, I see a little smile. Are you up for it? A little up.
Okay, just repeat the question one more time. and
What's
I'll
one thing that you noticed, something that maybe surprised you, something that she told you was very important to you 10 years from now?
That surprised me?
If not, then that maybe you're happy about, unhappy about. What did she say that was most important to you that sat with you?
That it takes time to get there. Like that I was able to accept that it will take time. I mean,
How did that
I'm
make you feel?
what?
How did that make you feel?
It made me feel somewhat anxious that it takes time, but also very, like there's no quick fix. You have to do the work kind of thing. So it's kind of repeating something that I've known all along, but it was good. In a way, it was good to hear that that's, it's nothing different.
That you've done it 10 years from now. It
Yes,
took time, but you'd already overcome it.
Yes.
What was
that? What?
No,
what
was
was? No, and that I finally understood what it means to love yourself. Everyone's like, love yourself, prioritize yourself. And there's all these kinds of fancy whatever out there, and to know that I've gotten to that place was a big milestone.
That's so beautiful. First of all, thank you, everybody. Like, right? Like, thank you so much for sharing that with us. That is incredibly powerful. Emily wrote in the chat that the words active and comfortable young acceptance. She realized that in 10 years, her kids are going to be 20 and 27, and her life is going to look so different. Yeah. And what's the biggest, if we work today on the achieving what we know is going to be most important to us 10 years from now, it's first of all, it's such a different feeling than this rush of, if I don't lose the next 5 pounds in the next 5 days, my like catastrophizing, like 10 years from now, I'm going to be in a wheelchair, so heavy I can't move. Like we make it so energetically devastating if we don't see an immediate transformation, that we miss out on the real transformation. So that's really beautiful. Thank you. Lynn, you don't have to share what truth it is, but if you want to, you can write that down. What truth you faced for yourself.
Unmute. I just, the day-to-day, what I'm struggling with, many of us struggle with, of getting to sleep at a good time, getting those hours, getting the water, getting the vegetables. We know so much of what we're doing, and when we're not doing something else, we're being forgiving. We all learned that. However, the truth, am I really doing the most that I can do for myself? No, I'm not. Not when I'm not really being mindful of not being dinner and done. And I want to be more truthful to myself, and hopefully much less than 10 years from now, hopefully, 6 months from now, I will be at that lesser weight and feel so good that I finally face that truth to myself.
So when you asked yourself that question, was she forgiving to you? Was she telling you were going to get there?
Oh yeah, no doubt. If we want to change, I don't care how old I am, we can change. Absolutely.
Isn't that a powerful message?
Yeah. And the cortisol, and if I relax about it, not intense, that cortisol will be down and everything hopefully will work.
Yes. If we're less intense, it will work. Yes. So powerful. Sabrina shared something beautiful in the chat. I also felt a huge difference in the ages of where I am now. And she saw herself carefree and energetic and happy spending time with her kids, trusting the process to commit to herself, to give what she needs to create the life that you want, and the relationship with yourself that you want, and the relationship with your kids that you want. To me, what you guys are saying is the purpose of holistic nutrition approach is saying that when we really think outside of 6 months from now, and we think 10 years from now, the butterfly effect of the changes and actions and habits and routines we choose today and how we go about them all of a sudden matters so much more than how we go about doing things if we're only caring about a result 6 months from now. It makes a huge difference in our intention and then how we carry things out. Meryl, do you have anything to share? Not to put you on the spot, but if there are any, yes, please.
You actually took me to a good friend's apartment in Yamim, in Netanya, a friend who just moved there. And I spent a few days with her because she has breast cancer and she just had a mastectomy. Her apartment is all white, clutter-free, which is amazing. And I sat with her at the bench and we like to go to the beach together. So a little, you took me away from nutrition and food, and you took me to life, because she always says that Hashem is at her side. She always says she has to be her own advocate to ask questions, to seek help that she needs. She approaches life with strength and humor. And I was there. I mean, she has those glass doors and she has a beautiful porch leading to the beach. There's a pathway there. And she was my friend. And I think we just have to find ways to support one another, which is why I grabbed onto your offer of these great days, and that it's in our hands, and sometimes we're not given choices. She wasn't given the choice, and she has to be very proactive in her life. And sometimes, like an allergy, you're not given a choice. We sort of wake up and, what's my mood today? We sort of have to, that's, for me. And like Lynn, I mean, I have to work on water and sleep. I find certainly having family in the States, like if I know if it's a Motzei Shabbos, I wake up at 4 to see how my parents' Shabbos was. If it was a Yontif, I want to check in with them. Water and sleep for me are really, really the changes that I feel like I have to work on. I feel like for me, the water would be a big difference in my weight loss.
Mm-hmm. I can't agree more. It's so often things like water and sleep, these underlying things that affect our quality of life 10 years from now, that we're like, yeah, you know what, actually, that's really what I need today. Because if I was getting more sleep, a lot of the silly, mindless, less intentional eating would disappear. A lot of that's the function of not getting enough sleep, And so one of my favorite, now that we had this incredible shared experience together, I want something, you guys, very practical. My belief is that it works in 3 stages. We get the mindset, and then we get the strategy and the tool. So the strategy is to implement this feeling, to take that feeling of calm that you got when 10 years from now, the result is assured. You've already overcome this hurdle 10 years from now. So today, when you start to feel your heart racing, we are all tired today. I mean, you couldn't have picked a better example. We are all, myself included, tired today. And it's like there's an inner pull between all the things we want to do and all of the holding back because we know that we're tired. And it becomes this like racing heart inside that then we feed with food so that we can do what we need to do, or we over caffeinate. So many people messaged me, they're on their 3rd or 4th coffee today. And I so relate to that because the impulse to drink coffee came up 3 times today. I know because I had 3 decafs. I had to intentionally choose decaf when the old craving to just push through. But what you can do instead, and this is one of those acceleration real tools, is whenever you feel that heart racing, oh my gosh, you have the thought, I need another cup of coffee. If you then take a second and just go open the door, like that sliding door is now always going to be there in your mind. That's now a home, a space for you. You can go in there, open it up, take a quick check-in, like, okay, future me is still there. Feel your heart racing. I like to put my hand on whatever part of my body is racing. So I put my hand on my heart. Feel the heart racing. And within a minute, it calms down and I can go back to what I'm doing without, I don't remember who said it, but without that panic mode, that pressure mode, that cortisol rising up through the body, that in the end, even if we push through and force a healthy choice, we don't see the result that we see the other person over there. And then we're frustrated. Well, it's not going as fast for me. And how come? And that's always a great time to grab another bottle of water, right? Another mini bottle, the many bottles at my desk of water. And just keep going with what the next thing you need to do today is. And something else that we can think about when we have relationships, like you mentioned, Meryl, in the United States, or I know my parents are getting older. I'm one of the youngest kids in my family. So my dad's having his 80th birthday in 3 weeks. So there's that thing of, or I have to talk to her at 5:30 in the morning. She's on the West Coast, or I have to talk to her very late at night. It's very hard. And so recognizing that the 10 years from me now has an amazing relationship with them makes it really more less stressful to have those conversations, even if it means sacrificing a little bit of sleep, knowing that it's still part of it's not sacrificing that vision 10 years from now, right? It's a part of it. And that means there are days where you get less sleep, and there are days where you take a nap, and there are days where you do slightly less, but it didn't really matter anyway. And I appreciate so much you said about a friend who has cancer. I mean, I believe so much that how we eat and how we live affects the quality of our life. But in the end, I also believe that the quantity of our days, we don't really have control over. That really, that's in God's hands. And so I wish I could promise everybody that if you take perfect, amazing care of your body, you're going to have a longer life. I can't, but I can promise that every day you will be alive, the quality, if you go about it the right way, will be so much higher. And that's what today is really about, is no matter what actions you're going to take after today, drinking more water, getting more sleep, you're going to do it from a place of, oh, this is preparing me for that future me. That's preparing me for exactly what I want. Yeah, Sabrina shared she finally got 8.5 hours of sleep last night after weeks of not. And it's like you wake up a completely different human being than she was 3 days ago. You know, it's just you're a completely different human being, and literally neurologically. When you've gotten sleep, your neurology and your hormones literally function like a completely separate human being. So be kind to yourself. Okay, we are now I'm gonna quickly share 2 minutes today about the group coaching program, and then we're gonna take questions about this, and I'm gonna give you your assignment from the workbook, okay? So my group coaching program, we have some people here today who are in the group coaching. It's called the Shabbat Ideal Weight Blueprint, but it's not just about Shabbat. I believe that our Jewish values and lifestyle is interwoven inextricably from our relationship to food and weight. And we need to come at it from a holistic perspective of emotional eating and emotional coping and how we relate to our families and how we relate to our Jewish life in order to make lasting, sustainable, complete transformation. And so I named my program the Shabbat Ideal Weight Blueprint Program because Shabbat is like 162 days out of the year. And so it has a huge impact on our weight and our relationship to food. If you include Jewish holidays, you have even more time that we spend that is hugely impacting our weight and our relationship to food. Because when we're gaining weight on these holidays, it means the rest of the time we can get stuck in deprivation mode. We can get stuck in always trying to hustle to make up for the Jewish holidays instead of having an integrated approach to them. And that includes how we deal with emotional eating and binging, how we deal with people pleasing. I don't know how much of our exhaustion today was because we completely lost sight of what your needs were while you were taking care of everybody else over the holidays. And so working on people pleasing, working on building, of course, habits and routines that are week routines and Shabbos routines. Understanding that Shabbos is all about transition. The more that you master all the different mini transitions on Shabbos, the easier it is to master getting into your 40s, getting into your 50s, getting into your 60s, the hormonal changes, the changes, as people talked about 10 years from now, many of our kids are going to be in a different place. You have kids in their 20s, maybe your kids are married. You have kids in their teens, maybe they're dating and in college. Like, it's really, a decade is a long time. It's a life change, and there's so many transitions. So the skill to manage transitions is taught through actually looking at Shabbat as a blueprint and saying, hey, there's a million different transitions here. I can practice the skill of transitioning so I can transition in my life with greater skillfulness. The same thing with communication skills. I have guests, coaches in my program who are marriage coaches, and I have an ADD coach coming in the next cohort to give tips and tools and strategies to help with ADD and its relationship to food, especially for women. So I'm really excited. And if you want more details about it, and you think it might be a right fit for you, schedule a one-on-one discovery call. And that's the spiel on the Shabbat Ideal Weight Blueprint group coaching, where we take this to the next level. Next is your assignment for tomorrow, and we're going to open up for questions. So you're going to get the recording of today and a second copy, but you can go back in your emails from when you first registered, and you'll see this. You started taking notes today. You filled out your notes from your visualization. But now I actually want you to write, look at what you wrote down and ask yourself, how long do you think it will take to see these goals happening? When you were actually looking at the person you were talking to and you had a different relationship, maybe with your kids, and she was telling you about your relationship with your husband, or she was telling you about your relationship in your life, what would have to stop being true now? You know, somebody here shared, it means she would have to stop looking for the quick fix. She would have to want to invest in herself. She would have to be every day working on loving her body, which is tomorrow's topic. And what part, is there anything that is not true about you today that would at a real deep level have to change? And if there's something where you see big resistance, like, no, I would really have to stop being the person I am today to become this future version of myself, you know, it's not an authentic one. And I really recommend you re-listen to the call and do it again. Because what should happen is you look and you say, hey, that future version of me is me at my core. And everything else is kind of just sticky habits, thought patterns, coping mechanisms that I picked up along living that just aren't serving me and aren't going to get me to that place of the future. So your assignment is to take this really to the next step and say, what do I need to change and release that's kind of just coding on top of me, and check in to make sure that the authentic version of yourself that you looked at is possible for you. Okay, so I'd like to open up to questions. You can ask anything right now. Hold on. Here we go. And there's, yes, and there's, sorry. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about questions. Meryl, you unmuted? Do you have a question? No. Okay. Who has a question about health, about food, about thinking 10 years ahead, how that affects you today, or really about the meditation, what's the purpose, or the how this impacts day to day? Anything is on the table. It's your 10 minutes. Hi, Susan, welcome. I know some of you guys came in late and missed the original part of the meditation. So take a second, think of your question. And okay, so you can put in the chat, or you can ask Vita, Sabrina, Emily, any questions. Nama, I know you came in late, but from what you were able to grasp, any questions on something practical or kind of anything that came up today you want to discuss? Vita.
It's a mouthful. You have to have a good imagination because it's hard to get past reality. You have to imagine. And we're so stuck in the present that it's hard to get out of ourselves. That imagination can become reality if we pay attention to the details. And there's a lot of details to the ingredients that go into the recipe. You know, whether it's the water or the vegetables, and we can go and tracking, we could go through the whole list. And I would say that every single one is important to get to the goal. Like every single item in the ingredients in a recipe is important. It's and it's just a matter of implementing.
I love that note, Vita. And something that I hope that this future meditation will give you is the calm to know that nobody masters all of the ingredients at one time. And I'm going to actually say that the technique matters more than the ingredients. I can make an incredible orange soup with pumpkin or butternut squash or acorn squash or carrots if I understand the proportion and I understand the technique of how to prepare the soup properly. But even if you have all the right ingredients, if you don't know how to make the soup,
like saying, It's the big picture. It's the big picture, the goal.
And when we lose sight of the goal, what happens is we get so stuck when one of our ingredients is missing because we rarely get all the ingredients at one time. Would you guys agree to that? Like we rarely are ever handed everything we need at one time to get the job done. But we're always given the next thing that we need to get to our results. And then once we get that thing, all of a sudden we find we have access to the next thing we need. And I think it's also a kindness not to be overwhelmed with having everything all at one time. What do you think?
Yeah, it is overwhelming. So you have to like be realistic and of ourselves.
Mm-hmm. What helps you to become realistic?
Taking one item on the list at a time. Like 1 week, I'll take on one thing. I'm really focusing on water. And then gradually the next week, I'll focus in on additional to water, vegetables, and, and tracking would be another week to pay attention to tracking. So every week I would try to pay attention to something different on the list.
Amazing. And as somebody who went through the Shabbat Deal Weight Blueprint group coaching, what's one thing that now, a few rounds ago you did it, what's something you took with you that's still stuck with you today?
That it's okay. It sounds very funny, but it's okay. I take like a double-decker pan, like a Dutch oven, and my husband will have his rice and I'll have my cauliflower rice. We have the same main course, the same protein, whether it's chicken or fish or whatever it is, the protein's the same, but the starch is double-decker. And it's okay.
And it's okay. And it comes from a place of like feeling completely at peace with the results. And when you imagined, you're at a big family reunion and you imagine that family reunion, right? You visualize that in advance and how it would feel to be there at your healthiest. How did it feel when you actually arrived there?
Oh, I felt on top of the world. Yeah, the party or the event that I planned on going to in August worked out pretty well. I'll have to send you a picture, Lily.
Yeah, absolutely. And today, do you feel as good about yourself as you did then after the Chagim?
That's a borderline,
Okay.
but it's a process.
It is 100%.
The whole 3 weeks while I was in the States, though, I maintained. I did not gain or lose, but I maintained, and that was a project. So I came back with the same weight, which is pretty good for being not home,
Sabrina's asking you if you mean that you really physically have a pan that has on one top area rice and on the bottom area cauliflower rice, or if you mean it kind of like figuratively, you make rice for him and cauliflower rice for you.
Bringing us the pan.
She's gonna go show you the pan. Yes.
So what I do with these two pans is it depends on the quantity. For example, if we have company and they're having rice, then my cauliflower rice will go on the top. If I'm stir frying first onions and mushrooms in the bigger pan, then I'll put my cauliflower rice in the bigger pan and my husband gets the rice in the top. So it depends on the quantity, but those are my two pans.
Amazing. And did they come together or did you put it together yourself?
No, they did. The original Farberware set from like almost 50 years ago had 15 pieces and this was 2 of them.
Amazing. So anybody can do it by 2 pots that kind of go on top of each other.
There are times when I don't do this. In my dairy set, I don't have this combination. And I just take aluminum foil and I put my cauliflower rice and I wrap it up and I put it on top of my husband's rice. And basically the reason is partly is because we separate our burners. So we have 2 dairy and 2 meat. So I have limited burners. So it's my incentive to use a double-decker situation.
And it just makes it so clear what you want to eat and what he wants to eat, and that it's okay for you guys to be eating different things. Because
That's the thing.
overall,
It's okay. That's the biggest thing. It's okay.
it's safe. It feels good. It feels authentic. Amazing. Guys, this was such an amazing session. Thank you guys so much. I'm happy to take one last question, and then I will see you again, same time, same place tomorrow, because I'm going to be meeting with my Shabbat Ideal Weight Blueprint cohorts in about 20 minutes here, and we're going to be finishing talking about entertaining and people pleasing over the holiday. So any last question here? Nope. Okay, well, I hope I get to see you guys again tomorrow. Make sure that you have, you registered through the link so that you get the recording, and you'll get another copy of the workbook. But thank you so much. It was so amazing to spend an hour with you guys today. I feel refreshed. I hope you feel refreshed and ready to have a calm, wonderful night, drinking some more water, getting some more sleep, and feeling like you're gonna go make some cauliflower rice tonight. Have a good day.
Thank you, Lily.